Here's what's coming today on the Woodworking Network podcast.
I probably was my first year teacher, Stephen Latta, because he got me really interested in it because I could see the passion that he had for woodwork. He'd show us pictures of these really ornate things that he made of solid wood, and he'd think they were nothing because he made them. And it's like after the 10,000 hour, I was kind of done with it.
Welcome to the 5th season of the Woodworking Network podcast and a new episode. Join us as we explore the business of woodworking, big and small, and what it takes to succeed. I'm Will Sampson. Today's episode is sponsored by FDMC Magazine. My guest is Joel Keener, a graduating student at Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology and the winner of the 2024 Young Wood Pro Woodworking Contest, sponsored by Woodworking Network and Grizzly Industrial. We'll talk about his thoughts about starting a new career in woodworking. But first, I want to talk about work and passion. For a long time, people have been parroting the slogan, "Do what you love and the money will follow." But I'm afraid that advice has set too many people on a path of disappointment, frustration, and lower financial compensation. The only way the money will follow doing what you love is if you seriously focus on making money while doing something you love. Woodworking is a classic example of this. How many woodworkers start because they like making stuff? I dare say most of them. Then they sell a few items and try to make a business out of it. But they are still focused on making the product, not building a business. Does the product have a market? Does the market value the product enough to make it worthwhile for you to make it? Have you even tried to answer those questions? Too often woodworkers fail because they don't face up to those realities. Business is a craft in and of itself that requires the same attention to detail that woodworking requires. And just as a piece of furniture will fail if the joinery has not been properly executed, a woodworking business will fail if you don't pay attention to sales, marketing, profits, and costs. Mike Rowe, a tireless supporter of the trades and star of the Dirty Jobs shows, has a different take. He suggests you should not follow your passion. Instead, he admonishes young people starting out in the world of work to learn to love what you do. He says trying to follow your passion rarely works out. Instead, he suggests trying to learn skills that are actually in demand. He says, then do what you can to love it. In the end, you still want to wind up passionate about whatever you're doing. It's just a question of the chronology you choose to get there. I see what Rowe is saying is putting skills and marketing demand first, then fostering organic growth of your passion for what you do. In a sense, it's the opposite of do what you love and the money will follow. It's kind of go where the money is and the love will grow. Clearly, there is a huge market for skilled workers in woodworking and manufacturing, despite what the media or public educators might say. I have never heard of a successful woodworking business that wasn't on the lookout for good people. My advice to young people who are at all attracted to woodworking is to develop the skills by working in successful businesses. Learn both woodworking and business while you earn a decent living in the field. Along the way, you'll likely develop a passion for both the craft of woodworking and the craft of building a business. That's a surer path to a solid financial future than taking out huge loans for degrees that don't really promise a career path. Oh, and by the way, the original "do what you love" quote is attributed to Marcia Sinitar, a public educator with a PhD who became a lecturer, corporate advisor, and author. Then she abandoned most of that for a more spiritual, low-key rural lifestyle. Did money follow her passion, or did her passion follow the money? You decide. Before we get to our interview with Joel Keener, let's pause for a word from our sponsor. FDMC Magazine is your vital source of information to improve your woodworking business. Whether it is keeping you apprised of the latest advances in manufacturing, helping you solve your wood technology problems with Gene Wengert, or inspiring you with case histories about successful businesses and best practices, FDMC Magazine is there to be the sharpest business tool in your shop. Learn more and subscribe for free at woodworkingnetwork.com/FDMC. Now let's meet Joel Keener, the 24-year-old winner of the 2024 Young Wood Pro Contest. All right, we are here with Joel Keener, the winner of our Young Wood Pro Contest. Welcome to Schaumburg, Illinois for the Wood Pro Expo, and this evening we will officially present you your award. Tell me how you got started in woodworking to begin with, Joel.
So it started back in about high school, because I was trying to fill my classes up because you make your own schedule and everything. And I decided to do the woodworking. They have a little shop there and do the woodworking program there. So I did that for 1 year, then needed to fill up my schedule again. I really enjoyed it, so I did it the second year. And then third year, when I was graduating, I didn't have anything else to fill, and I was like, oh, I really love that class. And because I remember it was always one of the classes that I enjoyed the most, never felt like work, just felt like a good time, good fun. And so I did that for 3 years. And then that's really what got me into realizing that I really just loved the whole concept behind it, thinking and the math and everything involved in that.
Well, that's great. That's great. And so then you went from high school on to Thaddeus Stevens College.
Yes.
And the woodworking program there, and you're coming up on the end of that. You're going to graduate in May, I understand. Is that correct?
Yes. So I graduate in May with an associate's degree for cabinetry and wood technology.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, let's talk about the piece that you won the contest with. Tell us about it. It's a mid-century modern liquor cabinet and a record player thing.
Yeah, it could be considered an entertainment center. I call it a mid-century modern Crescenza bar and record cabinet. It's a cherry case that sits on tapered cherry legs that are made up. So it's basically a case and a sub base. And then inside is a tray, and then also dovetailed drawer that is meant to store the glasses and everything. The doors, I put offset knife hinges on, and it's MDF doors with Macquarie veneer on them that I folded over. The back is also an MDF with Macquarie.
Interesting, interesting. So one of the things I know that the judges were impressed with is the intricate details of the piece, and particularly you mentioned the knife hinges. Those are definitely fussy and present a challenge for installing them, but they look so elegant in the piece.
Yeah, a lot of jigs to make sure that would work and everything.
Yeah, definitely. That's the deal. And then I gather you also did things so that there wasn't a lot of visible hardware on the front of it or anything like that.
Yes. So I used, for the front, I liked the look of the sleek, flat look because I did buy handles and I was debating putting them on, but I could never, because I wanted to use brass to make it look pretty, with the whole style of that time period. But it didn't really look well, and it took away from the V-match of the doors. So my end thing was I decided to put brass at the top to just give it that little accent, and also they could use them as push latches, touch latches for it.
That's great. That's great. So now, what are your plans post graduation? Are you going to open up a shop? Or are you going to work for somebody else? What?
Current plan is to work for a architectural mill workplace to save up so I can start to build a small shop and then do hobbyist stuff from there, hopefully. Because right now I don't have any dedicated space, but if I can clean out part of the garage can set it up, table saw and everything.
Yeah, well, you got to find a place for that nice new Grizzly table saw they're going to send you. Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Well, I think that's a good plan to start working for, a professional business first and learn how the business is conducted, and then, you can definitely grow into creating your own shop as you're able to do so.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I'm curious about, the Thaddeus Stevens is a well-regarded school, but it's a lot of people outside of Pennsylvania may not be familiar with it. Can you tell us about the school and what you got out of it?
Well, the school itself, it's not a huge campus, but it is very nice, quaint, because it was founded by Thaddeus, actually money that he left to get it started and everything, for people who didn't have the opportunities to start their own businesses. So it got everyone in the trades, and it expanded from there. And then what I got started in.
Well, I was just curious about this school and the program for woodworking there. What were you doing there?
So I'm mainly working in a shop. It first year starts off with just learning your hand skills and everything, and growing from there. And then you really get an understanding of how to. It starts off, using just simple chisels and just dovetail saws and stuff like that to really get your hand skills down. And after that, then you start to actually build projects, which goes to a shaker table. Then the next year is a wall cabinet and a bookshelf. And then sophomore year, is where they really let you can look for plans. And I was actually given the opportunity to design my own plans, which I really appreciate because I had that plan for that crescenza in my head for years. And so finally got the chance to actually make something I wanted to make with the shop.
And now you designed that in AutoCAD, you said?
Yes. So it was about 3 weeks, because I had the idea in my head for years, so I knew exactly what I needed to do in AutoCAD. It was mainly just dimensioning and making sure everything fit with all the specs. And so, I used AutoCAD to design that slowly, and all the parts, the case, the drawers, make sure the doors swung and it hit everything as you tried to pull it out, as well as the base for it and everything.
So you created in AutoCAD a whole 3D rendering
top
of it.
view, right view, all that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Now, did you have any particular instructor at Thaddeus Stevens who was particularly inspirational along your way?
I probably was my first year teacher, Stephen Latta, because he got me really interested in it because I could see the passion that he had for woodwork. And he'd show us pictures of these really ornate things that he made of solid wood, and he'd think they were nothing because he made them. And it's like after the 10,000 hour, I was kind of done with it. But it showed that you can the craftsmanship and the dedication to it, and it just was really. And then after a month of it being there, I realized I just loved the class because he always just had a way with getting everyone really interested in what they were doing and just pushing everyone forward. Even if you had a bad day, you were still able to keep pushing forward.
That's great. Yeah, I've met Steve previously. He's a very meticulous and dedicated woodworker and does some beautiful stuff. So that's a great person to have as an inspiration. Now, did you have any kind of, you said you started in high school, but did you have any kind of woodworking influence when you were little, family or anything like that?
There wasn't a ton, but it might have happened because they were related. My family was big on camping, and so I always liked the idea of wood and just in general. I know for a period of time that my dad worked in a cabinet shop, and he really was interested in it. So when he found out I got into the trade, he got really excited about that.
That's neat. That's neat. And you were saying too that he's a coin collector, and you're working on maybe some projects to make something for him for coin collecting?
He's recently gotten into, because he's retiring, he got into collecting coins. And so he's like, I got all these nice coins, but I don't have anywhere to display them or put them in because I have to pull them out of these cases and all the time. So I'm starting to design and milling up actually right now just a small box he can sit on his desk that he can pull trays out and look at coins and everything.
Change the display, you know, as he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah. No, that's neat. Well, one of the things that I'm curious about is that we brought you here to Schaumburg, Illinois, to the Wood Pro Expo and Closets Conference to present the award, but also, you know, to let you experience what a professional trade show and conference is like. And so here we've dropped you into 1,000 other woodworkers. What's your impression?
Right now, a little overwhelmed, but it's very intriguing, as well as I think inspirational, because it really shows where it can go. Because I was just thought of it doing it something small and everything, but it shows that, like, whether you're not, if you go into furniture or kitchens and stuff, and all the bigger that's more needed now for houses and stuff, that the opportunity is still there. It's still growing, because you did the earlier today the podcast with Grizzly, and I really enjoyed that, because it does show that. Because when I got into the trade school, I was worried that, like, trades are dying, but it seems to be the exact opposite. That I got in right the best time. They're seeming to explode.
There's definitely a lot of things happening, but one of the problems, which is a good thing for you, is that most of the industry cannot find good skilled workers, and so there ought to be job opportunities if you want to work for somebody else. And certainly there's opportunities to make stuff that people want to have in their homes, or if you get into commercial work and businesses, if you're going to work for an architectural millwork company, there's a lot of big, interesting millwork projects that are being done all across the country.
Yeah.
So, and that's pretty spectacular work sometimes. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. One of the things, you know, Grizzly is really looking at schools and small businesses these days, and that's why they sponsored the Youngwood Professional Program. And so I think that's a great benefit for us, and I hope it's a good benefit for you, and that this is a good launch for you in your business. You're going to have this nice new table saw, and you know, you've got a new future ahead of you.
That's it for today. If you want to learn more about the Young Wood Pro program, go to woodworkingnetwork.com/YWP. If you're looking for more of our podcasts, you can find all of them at woodworkingnetwork.com/podcasts and in popular podcast channels. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Thanks again to today's sponsor, FDMC Magazine. If you have a comment or topic you'd like us to explore, contact me at will.sampson@woodworkingnetwork.com. Thanks for listening.